Ember Crown. The western hills were not a place for men of soft silk and borrowed steel. Prince Alaric, draped in ceremonial plate that shone with a shallow, superficial luster, rode his stallion into the valley of the He sought a trophy, a tooth, a claw, a scrap of hide, to prove to the court that he was more than just a name on a scroll. The air here didn't just chill, it vibrated. It carried the scent of a forge that had been burning since the dawn of time. The attack was not a chaotic pounce, but a calculated descent. The dragon that intercepted Alaric did not look like the leathery beasts of the tapestries. Its scales were prismatic shards, shimmering like the stained glass of a cathedral window, refracting the afternoon sun into 1,000 lethal needles of light. It did not roar. It spoke in a voice that sounded like shifting tectonic plates. The lineage has grown thin, the beast rumbled, pinning Alaric's horse with a single, translucent talon. The embers in your marrow have turned to ash. Alaric drew his sword, but the dragon simply breathed a soft, focused exhalation of violet heat. The prince's masterwork steel didn't just melt, it sublimated, turning into a fine metallic mist. The beast then pressed a single, glowing claw against Alaric's breastplate. The steel turned cherry red, screaming as it fused with the prince's skin. Alaric collapsed, his scream dying in his throat as a blinding agony blossomed across his chest. When the light faded, his armor had fallen away in charred flakes. Etched into the flesh above his heart was a sigil of fire, a complex, interlocking geometry of runes that glowed with a rhythmic, golden internal light. "What have you done?" Alaric gasped, clutching his chest. "You cursed me. I have recognized you," the dragon replied, its glass scales shifting from amber to a deep, royal crimson. "You call yourself a king of men, yet you walk the earth unaware that your throne was built on a foundation of scales. Look into your history, prince. Look at the golden age your poets sing of. It was not an age of human triumph. It was the Ember Pact." The dragon leaned closer, its eyes swirling nebula of ancient memory. The royal line of the Western Kingdom was not a purely human genealogy. Centuries ago, to end the wars of fire and steel, the first High King had entered the dragon. The monarchy was a hybrid dynasty, beings with the hearts of dragons and the hands of men. They were meant to be the bridges between the earth and the sky. But over the centuries, the humans had bred the beast out of their children. They had traded their fire for diplomacy, their wings for stone walls, and their duty for greed. "The throne is ours as much as yours," the dragon hissed, its wings unfurling like a massive, iridescent fan. "The brand on your chest is a key. It is the signal that the interregnum is over. We do not come to burn your cities, Alaric. We come to sit beside you." Alaric looked at the brand. It pulsed in time with his heartbeat, and for the first time in his life, he felt a strange, terrifying warmth in his veins, a sense of the wind's direction, the heat of the rocks, and the distant, rhythmic breathing of the hills. He wasn't just a prince of a mountain kingdom anymore. He was the first heir of the reclamation. "My father will never allow this," Alaric whispered, his human mind reeling, while his dragon blood stirred with a sudden, fierce hunger for the sky. "He sees you as pests to be eradicated. Then he is the usurper," the dragon said, rising into the air, its glass scales catching the light until it looked like a flying sun. "Return to your stone nest, prince. Show them the brand. Tell them the true kings have returned to claim their half of the crown. If they refuse to share the throne, we shall simply melt it down and start again." Alaric clutched his cloak tight against his throat, the fabric feeling like a rough abrasive against the raw, pulsing heat of his chest. To reveal the brand now would be to invite the Inquisitor's tongs or his father-esque cold executioner. The king, a man who believed the world was a clockwork machine meant to be wound by human hands, would not see a successor. He would see a containment breach. Alaric retreated to the derelict spire of the old archives, a place of dust and forgotten genealogies. His transformation was no longer a silent process. It was a physical coup, the amber sight. His vision began to fracture. The stone walls of the palace were no longer solid. He saw the thermal veins of the hearths through the masonry, glowing like the arteries of a giant. The molten tempera, every minor slight from a courtier, felt like a spark in a dry forest. When his cousin joked about his pallid complexion, the goblets in Alaric's hands didn't just spend. It fused into a lump of useless silver under the sudden, unconscious heat of his grip. He began to gather a secret circle, a group of disenfranchised alchemists and disgraced knights who had always suspected the royal line was built on a lie. In the flickering light of the archives, Alaric pulled back his tunic. The sigil of fire had expanded. It was no longer a simple brand. It had become a living map of the western hills, its golden lines shifting and flowing in real time as the dragons moved across the landscape. "You see?" Alaric whispered, his voice catching a double harmonic tone that made the candles flicker. "We are not the masters of this land. We are the keepers of the shutter. My father's peace is a heist. We have stolen the heat of the world and called it progress." Alaric's plan was not to storm the throne with steel, but to reignite the bloodline. He used his brand to find others, bastards, commoners, and distant cousins who carried the dormant draconic markers in their DNA. To them, he wasn't just a prince. He was a catalyst. One by one, he touched them. With a flare of his sigil, he woke the embers in them. They didn't grow scales, but their eyes sharpened, their strength quadrupled, and they felt the same pull toward the hills that Alaric did. When the solstice comes, Alaric told his growing army, "My father will hold the great hunt. He intends to ride into the hills and slay the glass sovereign to prove his dominion. We will not let him. We will be the shield." The night before the hunt, Alaric stood on his balcony. The glass gills of the dragons in the distant hills caught the moonlight, flashing a rhythmic code he could finally understand. "The crown is heavy," the wind whispered in his mind, "but the wings are wide." He looked at his reflection. His skin was becoming slightly iridescent, like oil on water. He could no longer hide what he was. He was a bridge being built from both sides, and the middle was starting to burn.